From the hallowed grounds of West Point to the roaring stands of Cameron Indoor Stadium, and finally to the top of the Olympic podium, one name stands as the gold standard of leadership in modern sports: Mike Krzyzewski. His journey is more than just a collection of wins and championships. It is a masterclass in building something that lasts. Coach K didn't just coach basketball teams. He forged institutions built on discipline, trust, and an unwavering commitment to excellence. His career is a testament to the idea that true success isn't measured solely by the trophies on the shelf, but by the character of the people you lead and the culture you create. He showed us that the principles of leadership are universal. Whether on a battlefield, a basketball court, or in the boardroom, the path he carved is one of relentless dedication. It began not with a silver spoon, but with the grit of a Chicago upbringing and the rigorous discipline of the United States Military Academy. These early experiences were the bedrock upon which his entire philosophy was built. He learned that teamwork wasn't just a concept, it was a survival mechanism. He understood that strategy wasn't just about outsmarting an opponent, but about preparing for every possible contingency. This foundation, laid long before he ever drew up a play for Duke, is what separated him from his peers. He wasn't just a basketball coach, he was a leader of men tasked with molding them into something greater than they ever thought possible. His story connects three iconic institutions: Army, Duke, and Team USA, each representing a different chapter in his evolution as a leader. At Army, he learned to command. At Duke, he learned to build a dynasty from the ground up, brick by brick, player by player. With Team USA, he learned to unite superstars, reminding them of the honor of playing for their country. In each role, the core principles remained the same: demand accountability, foster genuine relationships, and never ever compromise on the standard. His legacy is not just about the staggering number of victories, but about the consistent application of these timeless values across decades of change. Ultimately, Coach K's career serves as a powerful reminder that leadership is an active, evolving process. It requires the courage to set high standards and the compassion to help people meet them. It demands the flexibility to adapt your methods without sacrificing your core beliefs. He taught generations of players and coaches that the most important play is always the next one, and that the strongest teams are built on a foundation of shared purpose and mutual respect. His journey from a young cadet to a global icon is a blueprint for anyone who aspires to lead, inspire, and leave a lasting impact on the world. Mike Krzyzewski's story begins on the hard-working, blue-collar streets of Chicago. He was the son of Polish-American parents, William and Emily Krzyzewski, who instilled in him the values of effort, respect, and perseverance from a young age. Growing up in a modest household, he learned early that nothing would be handed to him. This environment bred a certain kind of toughness, not a loud, boastful kind, but a quiet, internal resolve. It was the kind of toughness that meant showing up every day, doing the work, and never making excuses. This upbringing was the first piece of the puzzle, shaping the determined and disciplined leader he would become. His mother was his biggest supporter, a constant source of encouragement, who taught him to believe in himself. His path took a pivotal turn when he was recruited to play basketball at the United States Military Academy at West Point. The man who recruited him was none other than Bob Knight, a fiery and demanding coach who would become his mentor and lifelong friend. At West Point, Krzyzewski wasn't just a basketball player, he was a cadet. The Academy's creed of duty, honor, country became ingrained in his DNA. The daily routine of discipline, structure, and accountability was not just a suggestion, it was a way of life. He learned to lead, to follow, and to understand that the success of the group always superseded the ambitions of the individual. This military training was the crucible that forged his leadership style. Playing under Coach Knight was an education in itself. Knight was a brilliant tactician, but also an incredibly demanding leader who pushed his players to their absolute limits. Krzyzewski absorbed every lesson, learning the intricacies of the motion offense and the importance of relentless defensive pressure. More importantly, he saw firsthand how a coach could command respect and instill a warrior-like mentality in a team. He learned that preparation was everything, and that attention to detail was not a small thing, but the only thing. This experience at West Point, both as a player and a cadet, provided the framework for the coaching philosophy that would later define his legendary career. After graduating, Krzyzewski served his country as an officer in the United States Army from 1969 to 1974. This period further solidified the principles that would guide him. He was responsible for leading soldiers, making critical decisions under pressure, and understanding the weight of command. His military service taught him about communication, chain of command, and the profound importance of trust between a leader and their team. When he eventually traded his army uniform for a coach's polo, he brought with him not just basketball knowledge, but a deep, unshakable understanding of what it takes to build a cohesive, disciplined, and mission-oriented unit. The foundation was set. In 1975, Mike Krzyzewski returned to his alma mater, West Point, to take his first head coaching job. He was just 28 years old, tasked with leading the very program where he had once been a player. This was not a glamorous position. Army was not a basketball powerhouse, and recruiting was a unique challenge. He had to find players who were not only talented enough to compete at the Division I level, but also qualified and willing to commit to a future of military service. It was here, in the Spartan confines of Gillis Fieldhouse, that Coach K began to hone his craft, laying the groundwork for the legendary career that would follow. He was building more than a team. He was shaping future leaders of the nation. His coaching methods were a direct reflection of his background. Discipline was non-negotiable. Practices were intense, structured, and demanding. He implemented the motion offense and man-to-man defense he'd learned from Bob Knight, believing that success was rooted in fundamentals, execution, and relentless effort. He taught his players that there were no shortcuts to victory. Every drill had a purpose, and every possession mattered. He was building a culture where accountability was paramount. If a player made a mistake, they owned it. If the team lost, they learned from it together. These were not just basketball lessons. They were life lessons, delivered with the urgency and clarity of a military commander. During his 5 seasons at Army, the team's record was a modest 73 wins and 59 losses. There were no conference titles or NCAA tournament appearances, but to judge his time at West Point solely by the win-loss column would be to miss the point entirely. He was learning how to be a head coach, how to manage personalities, and how to build a program in his own image. He established a standard of excellence that was based on character and commitment, not just talent. He proved he could recruit tough, smart kids and mold them into a competitive unit that consistently played harder and smarter than more talented opponents. This was his laboratory where he tested the principles that would later win him national championships. The values he instilled at Army became the bedrock of his entire coaching philosophy. He emphasized teamwork, teaching his players that the strength of the fist is in the 5 fingers working together. He fostered a sense of family, creating a bond between players that extended far beyond the basketball court. He taught them to communicate, to trust one another, and to fight for a common goal. His time at Army was the essential first chapter, a period of growth and development that prepared him for the monumental task that lay ahead. He left West Point a far better coach than when he arrived, ready for his next command. Yet when Duke University hired Mike Krzyzewski in 1980, few could have predicted the dynasty that was about to be born. The program had a respectable history, but it was far from the national powerhouse it would become. The early years were a struggle. In his second and third seasons combined, his teams won only 21 games, and the pressure began to mount. Fans grew restless, and some even called for his firing. But Duke's administration, led by athletic director Tom Butters, saw something special in the young coach. They saw his unwavering commitment, his clear vision, and his incredible work ethic. They chose to stand by him, a decision that would alter the course of college basketball history. Coach K's approach to building the program was methodical and relentless. It started with recruiting. He didn't just look for the most talented players. He looked for players who fit his culture. He wanted tough, intelligent, and coachable athletes who valued teamwork and were hungry to improve. He built his program by establishing deep personal relationships with players and their families, selling them not just on basketball, but on the promise of a world-class education and a lifelong brotherhood. Players like Johnny Dawkins, Mark Allery, and Jay Bilas formed the foundation, establishing the work ethic and standard that would define Duke basketball for decades to come. The breakthrough came in the mid-1980s. The Blue Devils started winning, reaching the national championship game in 1986. Though they lost, a new standard had been set. Coach K had proven his system could succeed at the highest level. He balanced his old-school military-inspired discipline with a modern, player-friendly approach. He was demanding but also empowering. He gave his players the freedom to make plays within his structured system, fostering both accountability and creativity. This balance was the key to unlocking his team's full potential, turning Duke into a perennial contender and one of the most respected and often feared programs in the country. The culmination of this tireless work came in the early 1990s when Duke captured back-to-back NCAA championships in 1991 and 1992. Led by stars like Christian Laettner, Grant Hill and Bobby Hurley, these teams embodied everything Coach K had built: toughness, intelligence, and an unbreakable will to win. The iconic victory over an undefeated UNLV team in the 1991 Final Four symbolized the triumph of team over talent, of substance over flash. Coach K had not just built a winning team, he had constructed a dynasty. He had taken a respectable program and transformed it into the benchmark for excellence in college basketball, a powerhouse built to last. At the heart of Duke's unprecedented success under Coach K lies a concept he called the brotherhood. This was not a marketing slogan. It was the living, breathing soul of his program. It represented a lifelong commitment that players made to one another and to the standards of Duke basketball. Coach K understood that championships are won by teams that are connected on a deeper level than just X's and O's. He fostered an environment where players genuinely cared for one another, supported each other through triumphs and failures, and held each other accountable to the highest standard. This sense of family was his most powerful recruiting tool and his greatest competitive advantage. The brotherhood was built on a foundation of open and honest communication. Coach K's office door was always open. He encouraged his players to talk to him about anything: basketball, academics, or personal struggles. He created what he called fist moments, where the 5 players on the court would come together, look each other in the eye, and connect as one unit. These small, intentional acts built a powerful bond of trust. He taught his players that looking a teammate in the eye was a sign of respect and commitment. This emphasis on human connection transformed a group of talented individuals into a cohesive, unselfish team that played for the name on the front of the jersey, not the one on the back. This culture extended far beyond a player's 4 years in Durham. Once you were part of the Duke basketball family, you were in it for life. Former players frequently returned to campus to practice with the current team, mentor younger players, and share their experiences. They remained connected to Coach K and to each other, forming a powerful network of support that spanned generations. When a former player was going through a tough time, they knew they could call their coach or their teammates for help. This enduring bond is what made playing for Coach K such a unique and transformative experience. It was about more than just winning games. It was about becoming part of something bigger than yourself. The legacy of the brotherhood is evident in the character and success of his former players, both on and off the court. Many have gone on to become not just NBA stars, but also coaches, executives, and leaders in their communities. They carry with them the lessons of accountability, teamwork, and integrity that were instilled in them at Duke. Coach K's greatest achievement was not the 5 national titles or the record-breaking number of wins, but the creation of this enduring family. He taught his players how to be great teammates, and in doing so, he taught them how to be great men. The brotherhood is his true masterpiece. One of the hallmarks of Mike Krzyzewski's greatness was, honestly, his remarkable ability to adapt and evolve over 5 decades of coaching. The game of basketball changed dramatically during his tenure, from the introduction of the three-point line and the shot clock to the rise of the so-called one-and-done era. While many of his contemporaries clung to old methods and frankly faded into irrelevance, Coach K thrived by embracing change without ever sacrificing his core principles. He understood that while the fundamentals of defense, teamwork, and communication were timeless, the strategies used to implement them had to evolve. This willingness to learn and adapt was a key ingredient to his sustained success. In the early days, his teams were known for their gritty half-court style built around a complex motion offense and, well, a suffocating man-to-man defense. They won by being tougher, smarter, and more disciplined than their opponents. However, as the game sped up and the three-point shot became a central weapon, Coach K adjusted. He began to incorporate more modern offensive concepts, such as the dribble drive motion, to take advantage of the superior athleticism of his players. He gave his guards more freedom to create in space while still demanding that they make the right basketball play. He proved that you could play an up-tempo, exciting brand of basketball without abandoning a commitment to sound fundamentals. The biggest challenge to his program came with the one-and-done phenomenon, where elite high school players would spend just 1 year in college before declaring for the NBA draft. This new reality threatened the very foundation of his program, which was built on developing players over 4 years and fostering long-term relationships. Many traditionalists criticized this new era, but Coach K adapted. He recognized that to continue competing for championships, he had to recruit these elite one-year talents. He successfully blended these future lottery picks with his veteran leaders, creating a new kind of chemistry. He mastered the difficult task of building a cohesive team in a compressed time frame, winning his 5th national title in 2015 with a team led by 3 one-and-done freshmen. This evolution was not just tactical, it was personal. He learned to connect with a new generation of players who grew up in the age of social media and personal branding. He understood that while his message of teamwork and sacrifice remained the same, the way he delivered it had to change. He became more than just a coach. He became a mentor and a guide, helping young men navigate the intense pressures of modern stardom. His ability to stay current, to relate to 18-year-olds as effectively as he did in the 1980s, is perhaps the most impressive aspect of his long and storied career. He never stopped being a student of the game and a student of people. In 2005, USA basketball was, quite honestly, at a low point. The men's national team, once an unstoppable global force, had become an international disappointment, finishing with a bronze medal at the 2004 Olympics. The program was plagued by a lack of commitment from top players and a fractured team culture. In a moment of crisis, USA basketball turned to one man to restore its honor, Mike Krzyzewski. He was tasked with not just winning, but with rebuilding the entire culture of the program from the ground up. He accepted the challenge, viewing it as a patriotic duty and the ultimate leadership test. Coach K's first order of business was to establish a new standard of commitment. He demanded a multi-year pledge from players who wanted to be part of the team, ensuring continuity and a shared sense of purpose. He met with the NBA's biggest stars, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade, and sold them on a vision. This wasn't about individual glory, it was about representing their country with honor and pride. He implemented a no-excuses culture rooted in the same principles of accountability and teamwork that defined his Duke program. He made it clear that wearing the USA jersey was a privilege, not a right, and it came with immense responsibility. His leadership was transformative. He managed to get a collection of the world's greatest individual talents to buy into a team-first mentality. He convinced superstars to sacrifice personal stats for the good of the group. The late Kobe Bryant, in particular, became an extension of Coach K on the floor, setting a tone of defensive intensity and seriousness that permeated the entire roster. Coach K didn't try to suppress their talent, he channeled it. He built a system that leveraged their incredible skills while demanding they play unselfish, disciplined basketball. He reminded them that with their powers combined, they were truly unbeatable. The results were spectacular. Under Coach K's guidance, Team USA embarked on an era of renewed dominance. They captured 3 consecutive Olympic gold medals in 2008, 2012, and 2016, restoring the United States to its rightful place atop the basketball world. The 2008 team, famously nicknamed the Redeemed Team, exercised the demons of 2004 with a thrilling victory over Spain in the gold medal game. Coach K had not only brought back the gold, but he had also restored the pride and prestige of USA basketball. His tenure as the national team coach was, honestly, a masterclass in uniting talent and managing egos for a common cause. Beyond the championships and the record-breaking win totals, Mike Krzyzewski's most profound legacy may be the countless lives he shaped as a mentor. His coaching tree is vast and impressive, with dozens of his former players and assistants going on to successful careers as head coaches at both the collegiate and professional levels. People like Tommy Amaker, Johnny Dawkins, Chris Collins and John Shire are not just branches of his tree, they are carriers of his philosophy. He didn't just teach them X and O's, he taught them how to lead, how to build a culture, and how to connect with people. He empowered them, giving them real responsibility and trusting them to do their jobs. His mentorship extended to the players who passed through his program, whether they played in the NBA for 15 years or never played professionally at all. He took a genuine interest in their lives beyond basketball, offering guidance on everything from academics to family matters. He taught them the importance of character, integrity, and being a good teammate, lessons that served them long after their playing days were over. The bond he formed with his players was not temporary, it was a lifelong connection. He celebrated their successes, supported them through their struggles, and was always just a phone call away, ready to offer a word of advice or encouragement. This commitment to mentorship was also evident in his work with Team USA. He developed strong relationships with NBA superstars, earning their trust and respect. He became a confidant to players like LeBron James and Kevin Durant, helping them grow, not just as players, but as leaders. He showed them that true leadership wasn't about being the best player, but about making everyone around you better. Many of these players have spoken about the profound impact Coach K had on their careers and their understanding of leadership. He helped them see the bigger picture, reminding them of their responsibility as role models and ambassadors for the sport. Ultimately, Coach K's impact is measured not just in what he accomplished, but in what he inspired others to accomplish. He created a ripple effect of leadership that has spread throughout the world of basketball and beyond. He showed a generation of coaches that you can be demanding without being demeaning, and that building genuine relationships is the most effective way to motivate people. His legacy lives on in the coaches who emulate his style, the players who carry his lessons, and the countless individuals who are inspired by his example of discipline, passion, and unwavering commitment to excellence. He was truly a teacher first and a coach second. As the final whistle blew on his illustrious 47-year coaching career, the legacy of Mike Krzyzewski was already etched in stone. It is a legacy defined by more than 1,200 wins, 5 national championships, and 3 Olympic gold medals. It is the legacy of a leader who transformed institutions, shaped lives, and set a standard of excellence that will endure for generations. From the disciplined courts of West Point to the raucous arena in Durham and the global stage of the Olympics, Coach K taught us that the principles of great leadership are constant. Build trust, demand accountability, and put the team first. His journey is a testament to the power of a clear vision and the relentless pursuit of perfection. His impact on the game of basketball is, frankly, immeasurable. He elevated Duke from a strong program to a global brand, a benchmark against which all others are measured. He adapted to every change the game threw at him, proving that a leader's greatest strength is the ability to evolve without losing sight of their core values. With Team USA, he restored a nation's pride, uniting a group of superstars under a single banner of selfless commitment. He didn't just win, he built things that lasted. He built a brotherhood at Duke, a culture of excellence with the national team, and a coaching tree that will continue to bear fruit for decades to come. But his greatest influence extends far beyond the hardwood. He was a teacher of life, using basketball as his classroom. He taught his players about toughness, not as a physical trait, but as the mental and emotional resilience to overcome adversity. He taught them about communication, about looking a teammate in the eye and speaking the truth. He taught them about the power of a shared purpose, the idea that a group of individuals can achieve extraordinary things when they are united in a common cause. These are not just basketball lessons, they are blueprints for a successful and meaningful life. Long after the echoes of the cheering crowds in Cameron Indoor Stadium have faded, the echo of Coach K's whistle will remain. It will resonate in the actions of the leaders he molded, the coaches he mentored, and the countless people he inspired. His story is a powerful reminder that true greatness is not found in personal accolades, but in the positive impact we have on others. Mike Krzyzewski did more than just win basketball games. He showed us what it means to lead with integrity, passion, and a relentless commitment to bringing out the best in people. His legacy is the gold standard, not just for coaching, but for leadership itself.